Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Sharita, the Behavior and Literacy Strategist, coming at you from the Morgan Unlimited Growth Institute, where you can find solutions for both your child's behavior and literacy challenges. I want to talk to y'all today about kid transformations, okay? And when I say kid transformations, let me get myself together here. I'm talking about when kids are having behavior challenges or caught up in their behavior cycle, they're always getting in trouble, and literacy challenges. They can't read on grade level, they're failing, they're far behind. They may have in both cases they have IEPs, or they in special education, in the special education inclusion classrooms, or getting pulled out by a resource teacher. They are just really struggling, and it's in mom stressed out. Their self-esteem is affected. Everyone is feeling bad. You know what I mean? Kids feeling bad about themselves. And as moms, they're like, something needs to change. Something's got to happen right now, right? And when mom's had enough, and she puts the right plans in place, behavior growth plans and literacy growth plans, so they can grow at the same time, and things start happening, right? There are signs that your child is going through a transformation, right? And we focus on growth here. And not just with my students in my life, I focus on growth, okay? And that's how you know you're on the right track. So we could be pretty impatient when progress is happening. When we're on the road to success, we can be pretty impatient. But it's good to make sure we look for signs along the way, so we just keep it moving and we stay successful. We just keep becoming more and more successful because we are seeing these signs, and these signs that tell us, you know what, I know that I'm seeing these things happening, and that's telling me that I'm on the right track. You know, that success is inevitable. We're on the way, because I see these things happening. So I'm going to give you 5 things to look out for. 5 things. Hold on a second as I plug in my charger. 5 signs that your child is 5 signs that your child is experiencing a kid transformation, that I've seen over and over again, and I've seen with my own child, and I'm seeing it now. And as I always say, when you put the right things in place and you focus on growth, at first you have to get past the wall, you have to get past the pushback, all the obstacles that pop up, you know. And the kids may fight, the kids may run away, avoid all these things because they're afraid of failure, right? And it may be so difficult for you, and you are trying and everything. All that happens, and we have to remember. Welcome, Pamela. Thank you for joining me. We're talking about the 5 signs of a kid transformation, right? So first, I'm talking about when you first put your plan in place for your child's growth. And it has to be a customized plan just for them. And you get the pushback, right? It's hard because it may seem like it's not working. As a matter of fact, it may even get worse, okay? But what does that mean? That means that your child is afraid of failure, okay? They don't think that they can improve in their reading and their literacy, right? They don't think that they can improve their behavior. They've been doing the same behaviors for a very long time, and it's hard to get out of that. For adults, it's hard to get out of that behavior cycle, right? So first and foremost, we have to acknowledge that when we start our journey with our children, okay, that we have to acknowledge that it's not going to be an easy road, smooth road. At first, we're going to have to overcome some obstacles. And if things have been a certain way for a long time, how do we expect there to be overnight success? But when you hit that point, honey, when you get to that point where you put everything in place and everything starts to come together, the growth is so fast. It seems like it came out of nowhere, but it's not. It didn't. It didn't come out of nowhere, okay? So I'm going to be talking about 5 signs that your child's going through a transformation that I've seen kids go through over and over and over, and I just love when this happens. Number 1 sign is you see your child smiling more and more confident, like they feel better about themselves. They used to be withdrawn. They used to walk around angry a lot. They used to fight all the time for things, that didn't make no sense, like fighting chores or fighting homework or picking fights with their brothers and stuff. And then they were walking around feeling bad about themselves all the time, but then they now are walking around, they have a different affect. Their whole face, I always say, like, when kids get to that point, their face opens up. They actually look different, okay? At first, they be walking around there angry, and it's like your face is balled up. You have the same expression all the time. But when you're happy, your face just opens up, and you kind of let the world in. And that's what it looks like. Their face actually looks different. They're happier. They're more confident, okay? Another sign, number 2, is they become goal-oriented. Kids who have been used to failing when it comes to their academics and when it comes to their behavior. If they're always doing things and getting in trouble all the time, they feel like a failure every single day. And it's killer on their self-esteem. Them getting in trouble all the time for their behavior, them getting in trouble all the time for not doing their work, them not being able to understand their work on their own or read their work on their own and needing help. All this is so detrimental to kids. We kind of miss it. When they act up, when it's time for them to read, when it's time for them to write and spell things, we just think it's their behavior. They can't focus, right? Or they're acting up. But as I always say, we have to understand 3 things about behavior. Number 1, a behavior is a form of negative behavior is a form of communication. Number 2, it has a purpose. And number 3, it needs an audience to survive. And a lot of these kids are using behavior as a tool to get out of doing their work because of how they feel every time they have to do their work, and they can't understand it, and they think they're going to get it wrong. Okay? So when they're like that, at first, before you put the plan in place and before you start helping them achieve some successes, they are always feeling like a failure, and they are always running away from the things that they're scared of tackling because they think they're going to fail, right? But after you show them some success, after they have some strategies in place, after they start to experience growth, they change and they feel good about themselves and they become goal-oriented. That's a whole different vibe. They become goal-oriented. They want to accomplish things. They want to see what the next challenge is. They want to read. So kids who run away from reading, cry. I had kids in my program who threw tantrums before, cried, just a straight meltdown every time they had to read something. And then they're asking their mom if they can read to them. They're asking if they can read, like, the cleaners, the labels on cleaners around the house. They're asking me, what story? Can we finish this? Can we do another story? Can we get to the next story, right? While I'm reading with them, and when I read, I don't read for them at all. I coach them. But it's something you have to understand. When kids are reading and they come across a word they don't know and then give up right away, the feeling they get when they have some strategies to figure it out, and they're able to figure it out on their own, right? And read it on their own afterwards, is such a big confidence booster. So they want to start reading so they can keep experiencing that. They want to keep conquering words. Each word that they conquer is a big deal, okay? For a child, it's a big, big deal. So they become goal-oriented. They focus on being able to read a story on their own. They focus on being able to pass a spelling test on their own. You know what I mean? being able to write a paragraph for their own and then learn how to edit it themselves, which is what we do in our program. They want to accomplish these things. Why? Because now they have the tools and they have the expectations, and they couldn't run from it, okay? They couldn't run from it. At first they fought, but they were able to get through it. And they now feel confident. Here's the big thing. And I always tell my students, if you don't know, you will know. They now feel confident that if they come across a word that they don't know, that they will work on it and they will be able to know it and read on their own. And then when they come across it the next day, they have that word now. That's a big, huge deal for them. So they become goal-oriented and they talk junk. Like my students be like, I'm about to smack this test, Miss Sharita. I'm like, you're not ready, because I told you to. You're not ready for what I'm about to throw at you today, okay? And they be like, well, you're not ready. You're not ready for me, right? Right? So that's the confidence that goes along with that too, right? That they become goal-oriented. What can I accomplish next? What can I conquer next? You have to remember, these kids have spent years failing and not being able to conquer these things. And when they start conquering them, they want to. It's addictive. They have to have it, okay? Number 3, this is a beautiful thing. And I just experienced this a few minutes ago. I just finished with one of my students. I have a group. There's one student for now, but she's going to get a classmate really soon. And she wanted to show me her artwork. They start showing you their talents. They start showing you pieces of themselves. So how can a child be like, this, I'm really good at anime, and I want to show you my, I want to show you my artwork before you leave? How could they feel like that if they're always getting in trouble? They're always running away from their work. They don't feel good about reading. They worried about spelling things wrong. School is just so stressful for them because they don't feel equipped. That doesn't leave room for them to really be themselves and share themselves, okay? And I've gotten to know kids over the years in that way. And I'll talk about my first special education class. I was a permanent sub. And my first class as a permanent substitute teacher was a behavior disabled special education class. And when I first started working with them, it was just behavior. It was behavior all day. And I had to implement a behavior modification system just so I could teach them and grow them behaviorally and academically at the same time. But it wasn't until that happened that I started to see who these kids really were. Some kids were really good at art. Some kids, and then I'll have them do art projects for the class. Some kids were really good at dancing, right? Some kids liked music and they liked to rap, and then they were able to write their own songs and edit their own songs, okay, that they wrote. You understand what I'm saying? Some kids, we get outside and they have recess and they really good at basketball. Some kids, but to be able to say, this is what I'm good at and I'm sharing this with you. They can't do that if they're not going through a transformation where they start to feel better about themselves because they are starting to be able to read and write and do things academically that they couldn't do before. That is a major stress on a kid. Just imagine yourself if you go to work every day and you are terrible at your job and you get evaluated and you get a bad evaluation all the time. How would you feel? That's how our kids feel who go to school every day, ill-equipped to function on grade level. And we have to change that, okay? Next one, more success. And like I said, oh no, I'm going to save that one for last. Improved relationships. Improved relationships. The kids, my students over the years, and my students now, had relationships and have the newer ones relationships with their moms that they need to get better, right? Now listen to moms being disrespectful and fighting with their siblings, right? But again, if they're failing and they can't read, and I'm not saying that that's the reason for all their behavior. It's also behavior patterns, and that stuff that needs to be addressed as well, has to be customized. But when they start to feel more confident and be more successful, right, again, and then work on these behaviors and their interactions and customize how they're supposed to, and teach them how they're supposed to interact with their family members, their relationship starts to change. Okay, and I saw it with my own daughter, who changed her interaction, her relationship with her little sister, who's 3. Now she's a straight up big sister, a leader, always taking care of, always doing things with her. She teaches Maya things that I don't teach her. So she's sitting there like, Maya, what is DARK spelled? And Maya she said dark, and I'm like, you know how to read, you know how to spell dark, this is what we did when we were in the bathroom and I was helping her brush her teeth, but before she was upset because she used to be the only child and all this other stuff, right? But when you address these problems, there's growth that happens in relationships. And growth that happens between the child and the mom, okay? Especially if mom is doing that self-care. I always talk to y'all about that, right? So the relationships change. And if their relationships at home change, how do you think the relationship's going to be in the classroom? How do you think their relationship is going to be with their teacher? Okay? All right? And everything we do, we're moms, like, professionally, I was a mental health specialist and special education teacher working with children with behavior disorders, right? But first and foremost, y'all, I'm a mom, okay? So everything that we talk about here and everything that I work with my own daughter on, and my younger daughter too, my children, is because I know when they get out there in the classroom, that's getting out there in the outside world. And I want them to be equipped. I want them to be successful. So everything we talk about here has implications for the classroom, okay? The last thing, so we talked about more confidence, being goal-oriented, showing and sharing their talents, feeling good enough to share their talents now because they are being more and more successful. Look what I'm good at, right? And number 4 was improve relationships, all right? And the last thing that I see over and over again is that sweet spot, y'all. Sweet spot. How it feels. I cannot describe how it feels to be working with a child when you first start working with them and you sit down and read with them and they can't read. And how much they struggle. You look at their spelling and they can't spell. And you can hardly tell what they were even trying to write. Okay? And they can't even tell. They look at their writing and they don't know what they were trying to write there, spell there. Okay? That would have a child just not want to write at all. Okay? And then you work with the child and you fill in these holes because they have holes in their literacy foundation, things that should have been mastered that wasn't mastered from years before, or things that they learned and they forgot, okay? You start to fill these in, and then one day you're doing your regular coaching, and then you have them read something, you have them write something, you see how fluent their reading is, and you're like, before they could never read these words, and now look at how good they're a reader now. They are actually reading, okay? And with the spelling, like my students, I teach them how to edit their own writing. That's a big confidence booster as well, because if they're always worried about mistakes, that's why a lot of kids run away from writing. They're worried about spelling a word wrong, missing a period, capitalization. These are things they should have mastered when they were in their early grades, okay? And this is why they don't want to write. So we work on that in the beginning, and I get that first writing sample, and I can see exactly what they are lacking, what they need to work on, and what's holding them back. And all of this is affecting their self-esteem. It absolutely is. And then you working with them one day, and then they're self-editing. Before they get to self-editing process, I'm wondering to myself, like, you spell all these words on your own. I'm looking back, like, was I watching this stuff? Was she cheating, looking at the computer and stuff like that? You know what I mean? Because it's like, wait a minute, she spells so much better. The improvement, it seems like it's out of nowhere, but it's not, because they've been working on it consistently every day. And this is what these kids need. For kids who have fallen far behind academically, ended up in special education, right? And have behaviors to match. What they need is consistency. And it's not easy, because they also have behaviors that push adults away. that make adults so frustrated that it's hard to teach them, or cause so much distraction that it's like they run in circles around us, and it's like, and they know they doing it so that we could just give up. But we can't give up. Moms, we can't give up. I'm talking to you as a mom right now. We absolutely can't give up. And I know that they have a lot of services in the schools that help our kids with these issues. But we always have to remember that we are the foundation for our kids. We are the center. And we have to be the first person, first and foremost. We are the most consistent people in their lives. So we can't let them give up. We can't give up. We can't let them give up. And when we stand there firm and we stay consistent, and you have the right plans in place, and you have your self-care in place, because it is difficult. I'm not trying to say it's not, all right? But you have all those things in place. You keep and you stay consistent with it. And your child can't run. After a while, they're going to realize, I can't run. No matter what I do, I'm still going to have to do this. No matter what I do, it's still going to be here. Okay? And they will understand that. They will understand that this is something that they have to face. But then at the same time, since they're being equipped and those holes are getting filled up, they have more confidence. And when you combine those two, the growth is unlimited. It's unlimited for these kids. Okay? So you want your child to have a transformation. Tell yourself right now that it's absolutely possible for your child to have a transformation, because your real child is inside there somewhere. If your child is failing, if your child is upset all the time and getting in trouble all the time, that is not your real baby. I'm telling you. I've seen too many transformations to believe that that's just who they are. They can't do it. They can't do better with their academics. They need special education. This is just what they need. No, it's not. No, it's not. Special education is supposed to be temporary. What is the plan for their growth, for their transformation? All right? So keep that in mind. Thank you so much, y'all, for listening. Thank you, Pamela, for watching. Because this is I'm so passionate about this. All right? Probably because I'm the oldest of 7 kids, and I have kids myself, and I've been through it as a mom. I've been through it. My daughter was born prematurely, and my husband and I, when we got her home after she was in the hospital for a month, we was so protective, and we were like overcompensating parents. We took care of way too much, and we just, above and beyond. But my daughter, when she went into school, even though she knew how to read and write and spell and do math before she went to preschool, because I taught her at home, when she was in school, she didn't want to do nothing, okay? And I'm like, my daughter is so intelligent, she's so smart, but she was always acting like she wasn't because she wanted to have it easy. And nobody believed me. So I had to fight for my daughter. Everything that you've heard, I've heard too. Then she needs to be diagnosed. She needs to be medicated. She needs to be in special education. She needs, right? But then after a while, they start saying, you know what? You were right all along. You understood all along. And she is so smart. She's very intelligent, okay? The conversation changed because I did not give up, all right? And I'm watching my daughter's transformation into this. It's a beautiful thing. She's already improved so much, but now we're taking it to the next level because, that's how we do. So I understand your pain. I understand your worry. I understand your frustration. I understand your confusion, all right? And I understand your love for your child. So do not give up on them because their transformation is right around the corner. I promise you that. All right? It's your girl, Sharita, the Behavior and Literacy Strategist, coming at you from the Morgan Unlimited Growth Institute. Believe in yourself. Believe in your child, honey. And always remember that growth is unlimited. Peace.